I would say that proprioception, for example, is probably one of these humongous hypercycle that implicate the entire organism, the context in which it is currently located, the context it came from, where your body was in space a second ago, and so on. I would also suggest that cultures, be they an organization's culture or a social, full-fledged community, a culture, combines social stability, social dynamics with psychological dynamics, with economic dynamics, with geographic environmental dynamics, with religious dynamic, and you can keep adding them as much as you want. I would want to argue that those interdependent relational dynamics function as governing constitutive constraints that exercise control top-down from the wholes to the parts. Complexity requires constraints that generate these complex, multi-level parts to whole interdependencies. Once they entrain, once they synchronize, the individual processes change the likelihood of their occurrence conditional upon the interdependencies in which they are embedded. And at that point, then the complex wholes, WHOLES, become the governing constitutive constraints that maintain and preserve that system. So the hypercycle becomes the governing constraint that modulates, regulates, and otherwise controls the goings-on in the individual processes. Zoom back further down, each one of these then becomes the governing constraints of the components of that one as well, as constraints that set up the playing field we call a chess game.